If you're a nice guy who's got his life together on paper, like a good job, keeps fit, socially confident, but you keep collapsing in relationships, this, my friend, is for you. I'm talking to the man who avoid conflict like it's a landmine, the men who feel resentment building because their needs aren't being met, but they don't say anything. The men who keep attracting women who can't or won't love them back in the way they crave, in the way they want to be loved. I know that world. I live there. From outside, I look like I had it all together. I had the job, I had the car, I had the girl, I had the friends, I have the lifestyle. But inside, I was scared. I was scared of losing love. I was scared to lead. I was always performing. I was scared to show who I really was. I was always trying to give this impression of myself so that people would like me. And I felt shameful because I was always building this facade and I could never show up for who I was. And I wish that someone told me that the real problem was that I had scars, I had wounds that weren't healed, and that's what I needed to do. I wish that someone came and I didn't have to go through all this process. I'm glad I did, but I wish I had more guidance back then. So, healing. Healing for most men is a scary word. We hear healing, and think it means being weak, sitting in circle, crying, or talking about your feelings forever. And that's not what I'm talking about when I speak about healing. Healing is not about fixing you, because you're not broken. I wasn't broken. It's not learning tricks to get women's attention, and it's definitely not becoming some fake alpha version of myself that doesn't feel anything and always positive and always smashing it in life. Healing is about removing the invisible chains that we have and that have been running our life since we were boys. It's reconnecting with your core masculinity and strength without shutting down your heart. You can still be kind without being a nice guy, without sacrificing yourself. It's learning to lead from love instead of fear. The most important thing, that healing is about becoming a man that you actually respect. It's becoming that version of yourself that can have the things that you dream of. Because the actual version of yourself that wants the great relationship is not able to have it. And that's because of the wounds that you have that makes you act in a certain way. In this case, as a nice guy. So where do these chains really come from? Let's talk about the inner boy. When you were little, you learned some unspoken rules. Maybe you believed that love had to be earned. Maybe certain emotions were safe to express, like anger, sadness, or sometimes even joy. Sometimes you may have heard your parents saying, at least I have, I heard them saying to me, be happy, but don't go out there and show to everyone. So what I learned was that joy was not good to be shown, to be expressed. Maybe you decided, if I'm good enough, if I'm pleasing enough, they'll love me. And all those lessons that you learn stick. Those are the beliefs that you created for yourself. Now, as an adult, you still avoid conflict because you want to be good, because you want to be pleasing enough, because you want to be loved. You still hold back your needs because you don't want to come in as needy, you don't want to come in as controlling, so you shut yourself down. You still crumble when someone pulls away because you can't be rejected, you can't be abandoned, and knowing your nervous system doesn't feel safe in that. Your nervous system doesn't understand that you can't be liked by everyone. The truth is that your adult self is still living under the rules of your 5, 6, 7 years old boy that is inside you. That your younger version of yourself created for you. You're still living under those rules. So, how do we change that? Healing isn't a mystery, but it does take courage. You need to be brave. Because the first step is awareness. You have to see the patterns for what they are. Notice when you're acting from fear or when you're trying to earn approval instead of being yourself. Connecting to yourself is the second step. And this means feeling your emotions without judgment. If you're scared, if you're afraid of rejection, if you're afraid of abandonment, if you think you're not good enough, where those fears, where those beliefs come from? It means speaking your truth even if it risks rejection. Because when you shut yourself down and pretend that everything is good, that everything is great, what you're really doing is betraying yourself. Because you're not showing up and you're not standing up for yourself. The step 3 is reparenting the inner boy. Giving yourself the safety, love, and validation you didn't consistently get as a child. Breaking the beliefs that you are too much or not good enough. Again, as a kid, this is for me, you may have different experiences, but as a kid, I grew up wearing these badge on my chest of the nice guy, because every time I was a nice guy, people around me, adults around me, were happy. And so I just wanted to make people happy. I wanted to be accepted and I wanted to be praised for being a good guy. And bringing that mindset into relationship made me become a people pleaser, made me always say yes even when I wanted to say no, never allowed me to speak up for myself and state my opinion because I was scared of rocking the boat. The fourth step to take is integration. This is when the strength and vulnerability live in the same man, because we both have our feminine side and our masculine side, but we need to learn how to integrate those both at the same time, or when we most need one or the other. When you longer need women to heal your wounds because you've done the work yourself. You're not gonna go and trying to fix. You're just gonna be okay with who you are. I remember one relationship in particular when she pulled away emotionally, and instead of saying how I felt, I doubled down on pleasing her because I thought if I do that, she can't leave me. She's gonna fall in love with me even more deeply. And guess what? Exactly ended the opposite way, because she left. And for weeks I thought the problem was her. But deep down I knew the real problem was that I didn't know how to love myself enough to stop betraying myself. Because I needed to stand up, I needed to stood up, and I needed to speak up for myself, and I didn't do it. The turning point came when I realized that it wasn't about finding the right woman. It was about becoming the man who no longer needed to perform for love. When I was in that situation, I finally understood that in order for me to find love, to find the relationship that I was dreaming of, I needed to become the man that I needed to be in order to hold that relationship. And so I started my journey, and I went down this path of finding the right way to heal. And I needed to, like a puzzle, find all the pieces and put them together. And it took me time, and it took me trial and error. And yes, I got mentors, but no one was specialized on like helping someone in my exact situation. And so I had to do it myself. I had to do the courses and do the personal development, and it took me thousands of dollars and years of work and years of figuring it out. I spend a lot of time reading books. I spend a lot of time listening to podcasts and all the stuff that men do to try to improve themselves. But what I really needed was to connect the dots, to connect all the things that I learned and put them all together in order to find a way to move on from it. So every man has two choices: protect the wound or heal it. Protecting it will cost you love, intimacy, freedom, and your inner peace. Healing will give you all those things. You can keep learning tactics, chasing validation, trying to get women to choose you, or you can do the deep inner work. Break the old rules, the old patterns, the old behaviors, and become the integrated man who chooses himself first, who prioritizes his needs, who speaks up for himself and is confident in doing so. That's what I help men to do. If you're ready to start the process, and if you are done protecting the wounds, this is your time. So you can just reach out to me and we can have a beautiful conversation where we get to know each other and see if this is the right work for you.